Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday Morning Macabre. It is a beautiful day here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Holes, Wyoming.
I'm your host today, Scones, and I'm here with the Darce Man.
Hey, it's me, El Darso Magnifico. Today we're getting a little spicy for you.
Getting a little spacey, so it is the 50th anniversary of the moon landing.
Of the moon landing? Is today?
No. It was like 2 weeks ago.
The 50th anniversary of an LA studio recording of a man walking
on... The 50th anniversary of Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece.
The moon landing.
The moon landing.
It's the 26th anniversary of almost my birthday.
Of Edward James Olmos's birthday?
Edward James Olmos's birthday, star of...
Edward James...
Listen, we're going
to. I'm sure he's a long-time listener, first-time caller.
First-time caller. We've got him on the phone. Edward,
come on on. Come on on.
Could you imagine if A, enough people knew who that was to do an impression of, and B, if someone could do an impression of it?
How dare you insult Edward James almost like that? Edward, come on the pod. We'll discuss.
Yeah, give us a call. Today is we're in the twilight of summer. We are. You know that it's almost like it's that August.
It's the Sunday of summer.
It's the last week.
This is where, as a kid, you're like, fuck.
You're like, oh, man.
You go to some store.
But then Monday is fall, and I love fall.
I do love fall.
And it's going to get spooky in the fall.
Ooh, and that's good for branding purposes.
And that's great for macabre purposes.
Macabre-race.
Macabre-rista?
We're going to have a Macabre-rista on who's a really dark, probably goth barista.
Probably goth
that has dark stories.
Has an ear, like one of those, what are they called? The ones at the top of the ear? Those ear, you know what I'm talking about?
Probably gauges?
Not gauges. Those are the low.
Cartilage piercing?
Maybe. Might be cartilage.
I'm all out of words for piercings after that.
We definitely got it.
Yeah, no. So if you're a Macabre-rista...
If you're not Macabre-rista putting skulls and ice...
And you're okay sharing a single mic with Edward James Olmos...
then get on down here, because it's going to be a wild mixtape that we're trying to produce. So today, Scones is going to be presenting me with a little...
A biographical tale, if you will.
Oh, ooh.
So we're going to talk about someone... So we talked about the moon landing, like a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, that was, like 40 minutes ago? 50th anniversary?
About Jack Parsons.
Jack?
So a lot of people don't know who Jack Parsons is. Probably most people who don't have an interest in engineering or rocketry do not know who Jack Parsons is.
That's true.
Or has not heard of the podcast, Tanis. Yeah. That's a free plug, Tanis. You owe us one.
Hey, listen, if you're out there, Nick Silver... I expect royalties.
Nicodemus. He used to make websites, but with Squarespace. No. So people who are listeners will get that.
Yeah, that's
a
weird tertiary reference.
For another podcast.
For another podcast entirely.
Okay, so Jack Parsons is, he was an engineer specializing in rocketry who... His findings and his work on his team are really the only reason we got to the moon landing and kicked the shit out of the Soviet Union at getting there to the moon.
He was one of the catalysts for
his work,
I know, I should state,
revolutionized modern rocketry.
I know, I know the basic,
the good outline.
Yeah, I know just the highlights of Jack Parsons and who he is. I don't know much beyond it.
Yeah, so basically I'm going to deliver a brief, just kind of who he was, so you as the listener get to really know him, and then why a rocket engineer belongs on a Macabre podcast.
I'm a Macabre.
A Macabre.
Macabrecast.
He was a Macaboy for sure.
He was definitely, yeah, okay. Cool.
So, Jack Parsons. So, he's a big California boy. He was born in 1914 in Los Angeles, California. His birth name, Marvel Parsons.
Marvel. Yeah. He was kind of destined to do some wacky shit with a name like Marvel.
Sure was. But early in his life, his childhood life kind of sucked. His dad, was an adulterer, as this article says.
That's they wrote that as if that's his, job. His father an adulterer, his mother
kind of a scumbag. So he got kicked out of his house. His dad went and joined the military or whatever, and his mom married some rich dude and moved them to Pasadena, to an area called Millionaire's Mile.
That sounds like they're doing okay.
Basically, she married some dude with money, and Jack always had servants and rich shit.
Oh, they had they're big rich. They had servants.
Yeah, and he always like hung out alone.
What year was this?
This was in the 1910s.
Oh, okay, so early 1900s.
Oh no, well, probably 1920s.
Okay, cool.
Early 1920s. So Jack, he always had servants and rich shit, and like it's roaring 20s. He was always very solitary, like kind of a loner, and he read a lot of books, like a nerd. He was a huge fan of mythological stories, and he read a ton of science fiction, like Amazing Stories, the magazine that
Cthulhu.
Yeah, that gave birth to weird fiction.
Okay, cool.
And but this science fiction love led him to being like, rocketry is cool.
Cool. Now, was it rocketry that like sparked this interest, or was he just like, I like explosions and I want to?
There were like science fiction stories of going to space.
Gotcha. And he was like, I'm into this.
That's wild. Because at the time, that was science fiction. People are like,
yeah.
What?
Space. The final frontier.
Next thing you know, we're going to get polio out of the way. So basically, the dude, he sucked at school. An historian attributed this to thinking they thought that he had undiagnosed dyslexia. Like a lot of very successul people apparently have.
Yeah, I believe that. That seems like
I'm pissed. I don't have dyslexia. You know how many rich people are like, yeah, no, I was horrible in school and I had dyslexia.
That's all. Yeah, it's always the case. But then it's also like, people who aren't like who. Okay, I feel like there's a lot of like wannabe entrepreneurs who are like, well, Einstein, failed out of college, and it's like, well, that's not the same thing.
And then he's trying to get me on some like energy drink Ponzi scheme.
Right. And it's like, I'm going to drop out of school too, and I'm like, I don't think that necessarily means that. The same thing, but okay.
Yeah, and he was constantly bullied in school for being, one, rich, and two, just being like a loner, like a weirdo, quotation marks.
What a weird time where it's like, oh, you're rich, you loser. Like,
hey, kids don't like rich kids, man.
I guess that's true. That's still true.
Until he found his number one boy, Edward Foreman. Edward Foreman was a kid from a poor working class family. Think of Sean Hunter.
Eric Foreman, if we're going to go routes of sitcoms.
I was going to go Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to go Eric Foreman because it's so close to Edwin Foreman.
Okay, we'll go Eric Foreman.
I mean, I guess he's not downtrodden or anything, but yeah, Sean Hunter not. Definitely.
In that case, Jackie would have to be Jack Parsons because she's the rich one.
That's true. Okay, so we'll go Sean Hunter. We'll go leather jacket and living in a mobile home type deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
They didn't have a Mr. Feeney, though, so that was a bummer. So both of them were, I wrote... Like I said, when I wrote my notes here, I was on a plane, and I think I was like either half asleep or drunk. I said both of them were sluts for science fiction.
Okay.
Especially rocketry, which basically was science fiction at the time.
Nice. That's a very pleasant way to put it.
Foreman apparently like really admired Parsons' smarts and nerdiness, and then he would also protect Parsons from bullies on the reg because he was like a tough guy.
Classic sitcom duo.
It's a beautiful love story.
Oh my god.
So in 1928, I wrote... Well, at this time, they're both 14 years old. I wrote, the gruesome twosome made a catchphrase, per aspera ad astra.
They're 14 and they're doing like Latin catchphrases?
Yeah, and it means through hardship to the stars.
Now, are we sure he wasn't getting bullied because he was making...
That's what I mean. Like, this is all very classical nerd stuff.
Yeah, okay. I bet he's like, it's because I'm rich, not because of my cool Latin like catchphrase gang.
Yeah, but basically at age 14, this is when the two really first started to... make rockets, basically like backyard rockets. Most of them sucked and just kind of blew up.
Okay.
Most of them were just gunpowder, and then like they kept adding materials and like using like cherry bombs, like fireworks and stuff like that.
That's some classic 14, 15-year-old shenanigans.
Yeah, and this is when Jack, we'll talk about it later, but this is when he first adds glue to fuel as like an adhesive to try and keep it literally like
was this like
together.
A new invention?
It was him being as a kid like glue holds things together, it will make it more stable.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
That's just like a side note.
All right. I swear to God, if this becomes like a new advancement, I'm going to be like, you guys didn't think like that would be my first thought. I'll be like, oh, just throw some glue in it. Like,
we'll talk. This age is also when something else starts to start. This is when Jack starts to fuck with the occult.
I thought you were going to be like puberty. This became a weird lifetime podcast about Jack
This is when he starts to fuck with the occult.
Okay, cool.
And he performs
how
ritual.
Old was he?
14.
14, he got into like Satan and
he,
okay,
14, in his memoirs, he writes that he tried to summon the devil in his bedroom.
Oh.
And he believed he did. Well, who's to say he didn't, really?
That's
I
true.
wasn't there.
That's true. But
if any listeners were there, write in.
That's like a cringy thing I would do at 14. It'd be like, yeah, bro, I summoned the devil, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I wrote, he even thought he did. And then I wrote, the fucking devil was in his bedroom. Dude, I think I took like...
Sounds like you're on like
sleeping. Yeah.
Okay. So he thought he summoned the devil.
Yeah. Anyway, back to high school. This is when he starts high school in 1929.
Baby,
and guess what? He
class
sucks
of 33.
at it. He basically like fails out of all his classes.
Okay.
His mom's like, we are rich. You don't fail.
It's
so she sent him to a
literal too big to fail.
Yeah, exactly. And she sent him to a boarding school called the Brown Boarding School for Boys.
Boys.
And then he gets expelled because he blew up all the toilets in the high school.
Sick.
With like explosives.
Yeah. Okay. So he's kind of he's like low key pyro. Well, I guess not low key, but he's a pyromaniac or like.
Yeah. At the time, it was probably like that was crazy. Nowadays, with like bomb threats and shit, kind of scary.
He would have been his Instagram would have been deactivated real quick.
Yeah, he'd have been like, don't like wait till you see what's in school tomorrow.
Yeah.
That kind of post.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, don't go to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
A Thanos gauntlet in his backpack.
Yeah. So anyway, he ended up going to, I'm not going to say that. He went to like a school for, with like unconventional teaching.
Okay.
That's like the special
where they're like,
of it.
You didn't get an F, you got a lemon meringue pie.
Yeah,
symbol.
basically it was for like rich people with kids who can't at the time they thought they didn't know what was going on, and really they probably all had like learning disabilities like dyslexia,
but it's
or
for
ADHD,
specifically rich kids who have these issues.
If you want to get into that, if you want to pay for that school,
yeah, gotcha.
So anyway, there he actually excelled at school with the alternative learning program, and he even won an award for literary excellence, and was also recognized for his ability in chemistry.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does, especially for a boy who loves
schools out there. Kids have
maybe take it easy.
Maybe chill out with your mathematics and your
maybe he has dyslexia. Maybe he's tried to have the devil in his room.
Maybe he's summoned the devil. Maybe he has
up. He's just the
all the guidance counselors out there, take note.
So, also, while he was in high school, he's working weekends at and I quote my own self, a fucking gunpowder company as a teenager. So he's getting real nasty with that shit.
That was the full line you wrote down?
Yeah, and then I wrote, good for the ending. Oh, wait, now I remember why it's good for the ending. Yeah, so basically, he started early working with explosives, so, like, he, like, knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Especially if he's good at chemistry and shit. The bad boys of summer make a goddamn solid fuel rocket engine while they're there.
Wow.
Which is cool, but they're hella thirsty for good liquid fuel, because that's, like, much more apparently efficient, and, like, the future is liquid fuel, but no one can get it stable.
And glue is the answer, right?
We don't know yet.
I swear to God, if it's glue, I'm going to be so mad if it's just like, oh yeah, I just put some more glue in it. Like,
and then I wrote, I love that it's really past me leading this, and I'm just kind of...
You get to
they wanted to go to college to score ladies and rocket parts, but being poor is real.
Okay, true woes of a rocketeer.
But they're either poor or... So this is the thing, like, Jack Parsons is kind of rich, but apparently even back then, schools were so expensive, and his parents were not, like... I don't think school loans were really a thing, so you had to, like, just pay out of pocket.
Right. I believe that.
What's his name? The other one is, like, Foreman's, like, dirt poor, so he's, like, college isn't really in it for me, even though I'm wicked smart.
Okay. Not in the cards.
Anyway, they went to a lecture and met a gentleman named Frank Molina. The kid's wicked smart. He was a PhD student. Not really important to the whole spooky part, but important to the part that, like, they all get together and those three form what really is important about the rocketry aspect. Okay. So hang in there for the macabre.
This is the Triforce.
I'm trying to lay down the fact of
we're getting through the engineering.
Why you should, like, if you like space exploration, why you should care about this.
Okay.
Which most people think space exploration is pretty cool, or at least going to space.
Sure. I agree. Elon Musk is going to love this part of the podcast.
They were all denied as nerds by Caltech when they wanted to work in Caltech's rocket area.
That seems like the perfect people for that.
Because Caltech saw rockets in space as science fiction and nonsense. They were like, oh, space is up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Good looking through the sky,
bro,
asshole.
there's clouds, dumb dude.
Instead, another lab called the Guggenheim Aeronautical Lab was like, yo, you guys are cool.
Hey, you guys
come in here and we're going to form what's called the Gausset Rocket Research Group. And this is the group that would do all of the innovating.
Is this is post-college or this is while they're in college?
This is instead of college.
Oh. Okay.
So instead of college, they're like,
so they're
hey,
like 18
we're gonna go
through
and just
22
fuck
right
learning.
Now?
We're just going to make them.
That's pretty sick.
Because back then, apparently you could do that.
Yeah, well, you didn't need like degrees. You could just be like, hey, I like rockets. You like rockets. Let's rock it, dude.
Yep, and I wrote, they did dope things that got us to where we are in a space exploration is the only reason your country's sorry ass ever got to space. And that goes for everyone because every country probably copied.
That's true.
Their model.
Yeah, Jack Parsons is the OG of space exploration.
This group would become known as the Suicide Squad because they constantly worked with dangerous explosives.
Sick.
So that's where you get also the name. The original.
So Will Smith owes him
Squad.
a royalty check.
Yeah, Margot Robbie better check her fucking head.
I will eat your head.
I will eat your fucking head. All right.
That'll be edited out.
No, leave it in.
Right.
So let's talk a little more about the sensitive. What's going on while he's doing all this rocket shit?
Oh, shit.
He's not there 24/7, guys.
What's he doing, dude?
He meets a nice lady. Her name's Helen Northrop.
Helen Northrop.
Helen
of Northrop.
Of Northrop High, our rivals. No, of Helen Northrop. This was his first ever girlfriend, and he married her after knowing her for like 2 seconds, is what I wrote. I think they
that sounds like
and then
the
like
20s.
a week later, they were like, hey, it's the 20s. Let's have kids.
We have a kid now. Like a week later somehow.
So they got together, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. We're married now. But trouble in paradise. Basically, Parsons is an awesome husband. He spent most of their money on rocketry and even pawned her engagement ring to fund some of his projects.
I mean, his first love was rockets, dude. You should have known that.
Sure was. Also at the time, Jack and the boys also became commies from a refugee scientist. He was a Jewish refugee scientist from Germany who was a Marxist sympathizer.
Who was this?
I forget his name.
Okay.
He was a refugee and he joined the Galaxy group. He's
okay.
like,
So
I know
they
rockets, but
recruited
also,
a new
have you
member.
guys heard about Karl Marx?
What do you guys think about Marxism?
And so basically, they all kind of became communist sympathizers at the time because it was also like hip and counterculture.
Yeah. They sound like their entire lives have been like countercultural and like...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. They're all like rebels being...
Yeah, because society's lame.
Yeah. Hashtag society's lame. Tweet it.
To be fair, if I went like my entire life through school and I just got constantly bullied,
true,
the
yeah,
normal
just
school
shit on,
system
like-
said I was a dipshit, and then like college was like, no, you can't pay for this. I'd be like, maybe this isn't what I want.
Maybe this sucks.
So anyways, the couple is having a lovely time, and in 1939 they meet a creepy ass brother and sister who take the two lovely Parsons to the Church of Thelema.
Okay, do we know who this brother and sister are? Are we burying the lead?
Do you
here, or
want?
do you not have the names?
No.
Okay.
Do you want names?
Sure. I don't know.
I'll give you the names.
Give me the names. Look at this research.
Okay, so the brother and sister are named John and Frances Baxter.
Okay.
They befriended the Parsons and were like, hey, we got this hip new religion. Come on over. It's called the Church of Thelema.
Thelema, make way, make way.
The specific branch, the Ordo Templi Orientis.
Which means...
Does not say.
Okay.
Not a wizard.
Latin scholars out there, hit us up. Or Google.
So basically, they went there, and a lot of Hollywood yoo-hoos were there, like different actors
So
and
this
actresses
is like
at the time.
OG Scientology almost.
We'll get there.
Ooh.
And they all go and basically worship this guy who's the founder of the modern iteration of Thelema. So a little background on the Church of Thelema. It's an ancient thing that started in 1639.
So it's old.
It's an old religion. Not the oldest,
No.
but pretty fucking old. And it has had a lot of iterations, and a lot of it's based on like doing what you want.
Okay.
Like whatever makes you feel good, that's right. God likes that.
It sounds very self-involved and...
Yes.
Okay.
And so basically, the modern iteration of it at this time in the 20th century is brought on by a little dude
Little ditty about Jack
named
and Diana.
Aleister Crowley.
Mr. Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, an English gentleman in London, founded his modern thing after going to Egypt. And so a lot of the modern iteration is based off of Egyptian religion at the time, like Horus and like different
so I
Greek
feel
gods.
like this has a lot of like modern day like Illuminati symbolism and stuff. Probably
Yes.
is derived out of this kind of thelemic magic stuff and
Exactly. A lot of
Okay.
that Egyptian
that like the
imagery.
eye on the temple and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Parsons is like, this shit's dope.
This is
And he started to relish in thelemic magic and even believed in his experience from physics that he could explain the magic that they described with particle physics.
Okay, so he's trying to put
He's trying to marry.
reality in, he's trying to marry physics and this like okay, gotcha.
Bingo.
I see.
Yeah. So while this is all going on, he's like, all right, I'm in. He joins the church.
Yep.
Helen, it doesn't say whether, she joins it. I don't know if she's like
On
into
board
it,
or she's
if
just like, well, whatever you want, Jackie boy.
It seems like she's been very passive and on board for the whole shit show.
Yeah.
So he joins. The ironic part is while they're working at Galsit, they develop jet propulsion.
That wasn't a thing yet.
No.
They
First team to
invented
do
jet-
this was Jet Propulsion, was Galsit, that group of people.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep, so that's one thing of modern, every aeronautical function.
Yeah.
And so they're working on that, but guys are constantly being taken off the project or arrested by the FBI.
Why does the FBI not... I mean, is it the counterculturalism of it? Okay.
That's the ironic part. It has nothing to do with the magic. It has to do entirely with the commies.
Okay. All right. That's
So basically,
insane.
The original guy, they're like, nope, you're out of here. There was a Chinese guy, they're like, nope, you're out of here.
Oh, so like any foreigner involved.
And
was
then like they, I guess, decided like Jack, like even though he would kind of like, you know, he wasn't like a full-blown communist.
So they were just sympathizers.
They were
that
like,
they
you're
were
fine,
like, okay,
you're
okay.
fine.
Now, was it more so like, I wonder how much of it was like, hey, these are foreigners, quote unquote, that might use this new technology like for their own.
Yeah, it was more like both. I think both
Okay.
inciting a communist movement within the United States,
see.
and
Yeah.
also leaving and taking technology to a communist
Gotcha.
government that you more sympathize with.
Right.
So, anyways, shit goes off the rails with their marriage, Helen and Jack Parsons. Helen goes away, and as I write, since Parsons is part of a fucking sex cult, forgot to mention that's a big part of the Thelemic religion is sex magic.
That sounds like what.
Do what makes you feel good.
Yeah, I was gonna say based on that, that sounds like it'd be a lot of
They
sex
believe
magic.
sex magic is like the way to unlock magic or enlightenment
devil.
or summoning things.
Okay, so that is very much against modern like Christian ideals and things of that nature.
Or Islam or
Islam or
Judaism.
Judaism, yeah. So it's just
any
like
religion,
everything
really.
about this dude's life is countercultural in like almost every aspect of
Big
it.
theme. We're not trying to make like him an icon,
Right, yeah.
but yeah, he's pretty counterculture.
But if you're like starting like a punk rock band and you want some ideas for names,
Do you want something that's very not punk rock?
okay.
So while she goes away,
Who's
since
she?
she's part
Helen?
Yep.
Okay.
Since he's part of a fucking sex cult, he begins a
Oh, she like left
sexual.
him.
No, she like went somewhere. I forget. It doesn't mention where. She went on like a trip, an extended leave from
I see.
the
They
marriage.
separated.
So Jack starts a sexual relationship with her 17-year-old sister Sarah.
That's
Not punk rock.
not punk rock. Not cool.
Definitely against the culture, but for good reason.
Okay. Wait, it was what relation was it to Helen?
Her sister, her younger sister.
Big yikes. How old is he at this point? Do we have any idea, like, the timing? Would we assume, like...
Much older than 17.
Okay, yeah.
It's illegal. It's
I mean,
very
I
much
guarantee
illegal.
that it's illegal. Yeah, I just didn't know if it was like he was like 58 and she was 17. It's like extra creepy, or if he's just like... I mean, it's creepy either way. I don't know. I guess I don't even really quantify it, but okay. So not great.
Not great at all. So anyway, Sarah's like on board with the 17-year-old. I don't know why. Jack's really charming people. Apparently he's a very charming man, which is why he gets people to go along with all this crazy shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a major theme with like religions, cults, etc., where it's like you've got dudes who are just crazy charming and like can just basically persuade anyone to do whatever.
Yeah, I could never do it.
Yeah. Nope.
You might.
Oh. Ooh.
Ooh. All right. All right. Sarah tells Helen, she confronts Helen when Helen comes back and is like, I'm with Jack now.
Oh, snap.
And again, Helen's just like, okay.
Oh, wow. She seems like a very passive person to have all this shit like thrown at her and just be like,
Yeah.
whatever.
So Helen kind of goes along with it for a while. Eventually, so she leaves for a guy in the church, Wilfred Talbot Smith.
Helen bails for Wilson.
Yeah, because she's like,
you say
hey,
Wilson?
you're fucking my underage sister.
Yeah, no, she's definitely in the right here.
Yeah. Funny part,
Uh-oh.
Wilfred Talbot Smith used to be the leader of their religious, like,
Ooh, their sect.
their branch
Yep.
before he was unseated
Oh.
by Jack.
Oh, Jack became the
Jack
new
Daddy
leader.
Parsons is the leader of this
Dude, this
group
is some
now.
Game of Thronesian
I know.
business going
So basically,
on.
she leaves for him, and they all live together.
They live in the same house?
Yep. Them and 10...
What
I write...
the
Them and 10 other wackadoodles move into a mansion home for the goofy and live together. Live together raising like farm animals and doing crazy shit like full-blown
This is
Manson.
I was going to say, this is very
children,
Manson-like, where it's
yeah,
like they
like-
have their own like farm.
Yeah, I didn't look into it that much.
There
in my
must
research,
be
but
some very like the similarities between this and Kate Manson seems strong as AF.
definitely like Thelemic and shit.
Okay.
So during this time, Jack's like kind of spiraling from his professional life. He's spending almost all of his money on the rocketry, but he's showing up all like messed up and like hungover from
Sex
doing
magic.
weird, like, yeah,
Farm
sex magic
stuff?
shit.
Okay.
Even says here, he is having been a long-term heavy user of alcohol and marijuana, Parsons now habitually used cocaine, amphetamines, peyote, mescaline, and
All
opiates.
right, yeah. So this is like if Joe Rogan was in a cult.
Yep.
Cool.
He continued to have sexual relations with multiple women, including another member's fiancée.
Yikes. Is it Helen?
No, it didn't go well. I guess it went. He basically paid for her to have an abortion.
Yikes.
And the other member was so angered that he left the church. Like, he was like breaking up stuff. He was out of control. Just like,
dude's off the rails. I mean, he started off the rails, but he is now off the rails V2, like a layer deeper.
Do you want to hear a poem another member wrote about him?
Sure.
I hate Don Quixote. I live on peyote. Marijuana, morphine, and cocaine. I never knew sadness, but only a madness that burns at the heart and the brain.
Okay, so that's
dude is
that's
out
going
of
to my
control
diary
in
later,
his
dude.
sex dungeon mansion thing.
Okay.
At the same time, in England, Crowley's undertaking an astrological analysis of William Talbot Smith's birth chart, the guy who Helen married.
Oh, why? Are they going to murder this dude?
No, he came to the conclusion that Smith was an incarnation of a god.
Wow.
Yeah, all that from a space chart.
Interesting.
Someone's got to look at my space chart.
Yeah, I want to know my space chart. I'm an Aquarius. Is that enough to make me a god?
I don't know, but basically that's the reason he was like, I'm leaving the church because I don't think I'm a space god.
Wow, I'm surprised he took that route. I would have been like,
he wasn't my guess who's a motherfucking space god.
Who wants Totino's pizza rolls?
So anyway, stuff goes on in his life. He's still working on rocketry and whatever.
So is he making good money doing this rocketry? Because it sounds like he's got a sick pad.
He is. And one of the things he actually develops, we'll just talk about it now, was using an adhesive in rocket fuel. So not just glue.
Oh, okay.
It's a more of like a. It
I was
doesn't
going to
really
say, please say it's more
professional grade
sophisticated.
adhesive,
Okay.
But that concept of using an adhesive to stabilize fuel
Was Jack Parsons' original.
Yes.
I see.
Since he was like 14 when he had the idea. And so that idea of having rocket fuel that doesn't explode when you take off.
Dude, this is literally like Elon Musk 100 years ago.
I guarantee Elon Musk does shit.
That's
like,
true. Yeah, dude.
Occult shit.
Elon's definitely into thelemic magic, dude.
I think now, like, since tech people are at the front of it, they know to like encrypt all their info and be secretive about it, that they're really good. Yeah, like do insane shit.
Probably.
So basically, he keeps doing that, and then a little boy is moving into the mansion as a new thelemic dude.
Okay, we got a new challenger approaches.
He's a science fiction writer and a United States Navy officer.
Whoa. John Wayne Gacy.
That would be what? That'd be even better. No, his name's L. Ron Hubbard.
He was a Navy officer?
He was.
I did not know that.
He moves into the mansion and they became close friends.
You've got Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, and Aleister Crowley all in connections.
Well, Aleister Crowley's
not living
like,
there, but
he's
like
in London. He's like, guys,
he's on the phone.
This guy's a god.
Yeah.
This guy's not a god.
That's wild. Okay. That's a hell of a threesome.
Yeah, Parsons loved him so much, he even wrote to Crowley that even though Hubbard had no formal training in magic, like some kind of goddamn idiot, he has an extreme amount of experience and understanding in the field. And for his experience, I deduce he is direct touch with some higher intelligence, possibly his guardian angel.
Damn.
He is the most thelemic person I have ever met.
Okay.
Dude was fucking thelemic.
Dude was just he was dripping thelemic swag.
He had thelemia because he was thelemic, dude.
Yep. Great.
That's not a great joke.
No, that was 10 out of 10.
At this time, Parsons and his girl Sarah were in an open relationship, which is advantageous in a sex cult.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Yep. They had a polyandrous sexual ethics, that little religion of theirs.
PSE.
But she soon became enamored with Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. Parsons, and he's like, yeah, it's cool, it's whatever, it's fine. I like sex magic, I don't get jealous. He got super jealous.
Yeah. Yep, classic.
And so instead of like finding another lady and being like, whatever, like, I don't even care about Sarah, I'll find another girl. He was like, I need to find a new partner through occult means.
It has to be through occult means.
So he began to devote all of his energy to conducting black magic to summon a lady demon.
Like a succubus?
Doesn't specify.
Okay, I'm going to assume it's a succubus.
I think he wants something less
Could you
negative.
imagine being so jealous that you're like, I'm going to make my own girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, this raises concerns among the other members of the church. So even the other, like, crazy dudes are like, that's crazy.
This is like a real dark, weird science.
There's literally an orgy going on over here, and he's in his room making a demon lady.
So he's cool. He's totally stable and having a great time.
Yeah, and people start tattling on him. They write to Crowley that he's, our own Jack is enamored with witchcraft, the Humfert, which I don't know what that means, and voodoo. So basically, he's always in his room now, again, kind of like when he was a kid. Full circle thing.
Yep.
Except instead of summoning the devil, he's trying to get power and sex through summoning and doing black magic.
That's bananas.
In December of 1945, World War II is coming to an end.
Okay. So they were never involved in the war?
Not really. Doesn't say.
Okay.
I feel
like they
did some contract
dodging
work,
candidates.
but they didn't what?
Like they seem like the prime draft dodging candidates.
They never went to war.
Okay.
Despite, it never mentions it, but L. Ron Hubbard was in the Navy. How the fuck was he just chilling in California in a sex mansion?
Dude, he's just living the dream, dude. He's living his truth, okay?
In December 1945, he began a series of rituals based on Enochian magic, which is like an even ancient version of Thelema? Thelema?
Thelema? You say Nokia magic? It's
Enochian.
Indestructible? Enochian?
Enochian. Enochian.
Okay.
Google it. So this involved him masturbating onto a magical tablet.
This is getting...
While he's doing that, he's also playing Sergei Prokofiev's second violin concerto.
Oh, of course.
So, music's got to be going while you're cranking onto a tablet. And so this was what he called a Babylon working. And he hoped to bring in the incarnation of the Thelemite goddess Babylon to Earth. So he's like, I want a girlfriend. Why don't I just go straight to the top?
I was like, I'm not going to settle for any B-list demon celebrity.
And what girl said no to a guy jerking off onto a tablet to Sergei Prokofiev's second violin concerto?
I mean, that's just class, the epitome of class.
And he let his boy L. Ron Hubbard come to be his scribe, which sounds to me like he was kind of like showing off, like since Hubbard and like Sarah are like making sweet
he's like
weirdos.
Yeah. He's like, look at my cool girlfriend. She goes to a different school.
I'll let you watch while I summon my wife.
Yeah, you haven't met her.
Yeah, I met her at camp in the underworld, believing that he was particularly sensitive to detecting magical phenomena. So he's like, so it says here that he was like, L. Ron, you really get magic? You should come because you're really good at sensing magical phenomena. Which makes me think, what did L. Ron Hubbard do?
I was going to say, he must have been a wild
like
character.
Ghost Hunters. He's like, what was that? Who was that? Who was that? What was that?
What was that? What's going on in here?
Where's the sound over here? What was that? Yeah, and then described by Richard Metzger, who I don't know who that is, but it says it here. Parsons jerked off in the name of a spiritual advancement, while Hubbard scanned the astral plane for signs and visions.
Jesus
so imagine
Christ.
Two dudes,
like
me and you in this room right now.
it.
You're jerking off into a tablet, and I'm looking at the sky, just looking around at stars through a telescope.
Okay.
And violins playing in the background.
Yeah. That's
and
the
they
ultimate
did this in the
goal
Mojave
of the podcast.
Desert. So in the middle of the desert. And,
in the middle of the desert?
Yeah, basically,
Whoa.
turns out it didn't work.
Wow, who would have thought?
All the stuff's here. It looks like they did everything.
They got all the pieces needed.
They had the ingredients. They had the know-how. It just, it's one of those things. It doesn't all work.
Okay.
So anyways, he goes back to the parsonage, as they're calling the sex mansion, because he's like, it's my sex mansion, the parsonage.
Cool. All right. I mean, brand is everything these days, so.
A certain woman came to visit.
The Red Witch from Game of Thrones.
Essentially, her name's Marjorie Cameron. She was an unemployed illustrator and a former Navy wave, because apparently you go straight from the Navy to sex magic in the 1940s.
Yeah, that's like You got Hubbard, you got Margaret.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Admiral was probably filming. Like, I don't fucking know what's going on. So he saw her and he's like, you're her. You're the elemental woman and the manifestation of the Babylon that we just met. It can't be a coincidence that I just went into the middle of the desert, jerked off onto a tablet, came back, and you were here. You have to be her. So basically, I'm so glad we recorded it in here and not with soundproofless walls. In early March, Parsons began performing sex magic rituals with her, because apparently no girl's ever said no to him. Every girl's like,
that sounds like something that he would tell people.
You're kind of kooky. And he's like, do you want to do sex magic? And they're like, you know what?
Sure.
Out of my comfort zone, let's try it.
I said I would say yes to more things.
So, what I said earlier.
Yep.
To what you said. I said something to what you said.
And then I said, what did I say?
She acted as his Scarlet Woman.
Ooh, Red Witch.
ish.
Dude,
Was
that's
the Red
a
Witch
direct-
inspiration?
I
Cameron?
have to assume.
We're assuming it has to be. So and then during this time, Hubbard's continued to participate as an amanuensis. Is that a word you know?
What? How is it spelled?
Amanuensis? Amanuensis? Amanuensis?
Amanuensis. I have no idea what that means.
So basically, he watches people jerk off.
Okay.
Unlike the
It seems to really be devolving into a
jerk off.
Yep.
Unlike the rest of the household, Cameron knew nothing at first of Parsons' magical intentions. She said she didn't know anything about the OTO, as they called it.
Audio.
And she didn't know that he had invoked her. Whatever. Ew, what does that mean?
Invoked?
And he didn't
He
know.
summoned.
Ooh, and she didn't know anything, but apparently the whole house knew it. They were all like, yeah, no, that's it. So she was like, yeah, okay.
She's like, sure, yeah, I'm cool.
The whole house of crazy people said it. It
right.
has to be real. So basically, despite this ignorance, it says she reported sightings of UFOs, which she saw. Okay, apparently she went to the house originally because she was like, I saw a UFO, and all you guys like space shit.
So what's the deal? Hit me up with some deets.
And so Parsons, basically, she told him that, and he was like, yeah, probably came because of I summoned Babylon.
Yeah, you've never listened to this symphony that I've been playing?
Yeah, so crazy shit.
So
on to their next project. Parsons and Hubbard, still boys, despite
the boys, despite the turmoil in their relationship life.
Yes, they aimed to magically create a child.
What? What? What do you...
They wanted to create immaculate conception.
Okay.
And they said that if they did it, the child that would be born would be the Messiah that would embody Babylon.
Okay. Babylon.
So they're apparently like whatever Cameron is, the elemental is not enough. They're like, no, we need a baby. That's it.
So they need to be. Are they thinking that this Cameron's going to have said child and be like the Virgin Mary of this new world?
No, they just said it's like going to be
it's just gonna
somewhere on Earth, 9 months. There's going to be a baby born, which they're probably right.
Hey, these guys are real smarties.
So basically, Cameron, like they kept doing all this weird shit. Cameron apparently departed for a trip to New York for unexplained reasons here.
Okay.
Parsons went into the desert and he believed that a preternatural entity psychographically provided him with Liber 49.
Sure, of course.
Which apparently he said was the last book of Crowley's previously made book, the Book of Law, which is like their Bible.
Wild book.
He went to the desert and was like, I found the 4th part of our Bible.
He found like the arm of Exodia.
Yeah.
And they're going to make the full Exodia and win in Yu-Gi-Oh terms.
Yep. Guess what? Doing all this crazy shit and spending all of his money, he ran out pretty fast. So the last of his money, they wanted to buy boats and yachts and flee
boats and
the country. Exactly.
Cool. Oh, wait. So did they buy them or they wanted to buy them?
They bought them. They bought 3 yachts,
boats and they were like,
we're just gonna like leave.
We're gonna piece out of this.
The FBI keeps being like, what's going on?
Gotcha.
Basically, they tried to leave without Parsons because apparently they're like, no, this guy's not cool. So like everything's going to shit.
Like, almost like mutiny style.
Yep. And they all got forced to port from a squall. And Parsons was like, I did that.
Of course. There's so much of like happenstance where like, that was me because you guys didn't invite me on your cruise.
Yep. So, do you know who L. Ron Hubbard is strongly associated with?
Karl Marx.
No, he's largely known as the founder of the Church of Scientology.
Of course, right. Yes. Yep.
So this is where we come to the full circle of Hollywood, California being the center of religions like this.
So this is weird.
Yep.
So Scientology has now sprouted out of a man who was involved in this insane thelemic magic, and now you have good reason to be like, hey, Scientology is wacky because it's literally conceived out of just insanity.
Yep.
Dudes who have been near chemicals their entire lives, like blowing shit up and then making a sex cult.
Yep. It finally got exposed in the Sunday Times. They eventually published an article about Hubbard's involvement as a Navy officer, basically with Parsons' occult activities in 1969. In a response, the Church of Scientology that Hubbard was part of was like, no, he's not part of it. He's an undercover agent sent by the U.S. Navy to intercept and destroy Parsons' black magic cult and save Sarah from its influence. So basically, his Church of Scientology saved him from being associated with Jack Parson.
Wait, they managed to convince the powers that be that he actually was a double agent?
Yeah, and I guess it's up to your interpretation whether or not you believe that.
I don't believe that.
I don't either. Who's to say?
Okay.
But basically, this is where Parsons is like, he's defeated.
Okay. He's been, yeah. Does he have a long life, or is this like a... Okay, let's get...
Shortly after that, he goes to work on a project called the Navajo Missile Program.
Okay.
He continues to do kind of sex stuff. FBI strips him of his clearance. They say he has subversive...
He's had a clearance this whole time?
Sure has.
What?
But he lost it because of his subversive character and the advocacy of sexual perversion. This is just catching up to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, this took them a long time to figure out.
So basically, his wife leaves him as well?
Sure. This is the sister wife, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, he's like, I don't have friends. I don't have a wife.
I don't have
Babylon betrayed me. Like his religion, he thinks, betrayed him.
He has now lost everything, and he seems like he's a pretty wacky dude to begin with.
Yep. So he goes, he gets a job essentially for an explosive company in Mexico, working for the Mexican government.
Okay.
While he's there, he's working in a workshop. An explosion happens. He's mortally wounded. And this is the end. On June 17th, 1952, Jack Parsons dies.
Damn.
There's a lot of mystery behind his death. A lot of people think it was a hit by the FBI.
That's interesting.
Others think it was a hit by L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology.
Also very interesting.
Because most people who are the fact, like the official thing, it's an accident.
Of course, right.
When you play with fire, you get burned.
Yep.
But most people say like I said, he started at 14.
He's been doing this forever. Like, he knows the ins and outs of the whole
He knows
game.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
Granted, he was depressed and could have been like drunk or
I mean, he was
whatever.
definitely not in a good mental state, I would say, probably. But
if he was like working and making rockets and explosives on peyote and then now he just slipped up, not exactly. Like, there's a lot of room there for the conspiracy that he was taken out by L. Ron Hubbard.
Damn.
So this divide creates a modern large religion, the Church of Scientology. Thelema, I haven't looked up the modern. I don't know if there's still a lot of Thelemic practice.
I have no idea, but the connection between Parsons and Scientology is I should say Hubbard and Parsons is so strong and direct that, like, it's impossible not to think that some absolutely bananas stuff is going on in the Church of Scientology. Like, that's...
So this is what we're talking about. Why Jack Parsons, this character, is an enigmatic, charismatic, wild story that most people don't know about. We have movies about everyone. We have books, which there are books about him, but we don't have an HBO series on him. We don't have... Most people don't know about this guy.
Yeah, he's not...
And he's way more exciting than half the people you learn... Probably 90% of the people you learn about in history class. So the big reason there's been...
The Church of Scientology have been canceling all.
Exactly. There's been thousands of scripts about it.
And they just shut them all down.
They shut them all down by threatening to sue because in order to make a Jack Parsons story, you have to portray L. Ron Hubbard.
And do they view him as like a biblical figure almost, where you can't do that? Or is it like...
Essentially,
is it like the idea of like the whole Muhammad not being able to be like drawn or...
Not exactly. It's more like they'll sue you. Have you ever seen that South Park episode with the Church of Scientology?
Yeah.
They'll sue the shit out of you if you talk shit about them.
Okay.
Basically, that's it. Like, and no studio wants to clear it. One, a lot of actors or studio members or writers
are part of Scientology in some way, so they like can
So you're rocking the boat. There's finally a series on him. I believe it's called Rocket Man.
Yes.
It's on some...
I think it's on...
What channel it's on. This is what I mean. Like, it got kind of backwashed to this back
No,
channel
I
area.
definitely saw it, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because that's wild. We're going to get sued.
That's what I'm worried about.
That's crazy.
Half the stuff, we're kind of the bad boys of podcasting. We're kind of the rebels.
I mean, we've always said
we
this.
walk on coal.
Yeah.
We walk through fire for you, the listener, to give you these stories.
If you knew the amount of flack we got for talking about
Granted,
Mothman.
we have over 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
Granted, by the time this airs, not right now. Don't hold me to that right now, but by the time this airs,
yep,
we're gonna have so many followers. There's gonna be cease and desists filling up that box. And that is the story of Jack Parsons, someone who, a wildly interesting person who contributed so much to modern science, modern American ingenuity, like what makes America America, like being on the forefront of stuff.
This is a classic American tale of like, hey, advancement, but also a super shady underbelly and wild, like creepy cult stuff going on.
It also is a good story about how certain upbringings can lead people on certain paths.
That's true. Yeah. A product of the environment he was in.
Granted, like, there's probably a lot of people out there where like
have had
being in a sex cult mansion doesn't sound horrible.
That's true. That's crazy.
I don't want to live in a sex cult mansion.
The Scientology part of it is what's wild to me because it like still has modern day, like it's affecting us today.
Very
what
much
this dude
so.
was doing 100 years ago. That's wild. Wow. Jack Parsons.
Yeah, so if you like black magic,
if you like demons, if you like spooky
summoning other dimensional beings
to be your girlfriend because she goes to a different school and your friends don't believe you.
It's like the Area 51 meme, going to just break out your girlfriend, even though she's not of this world.
Do your own research, listener.
Yeah, don't take my word for it.
Go
look up Jack Parsons. There's a book on him. We should
plug some books.
Plug some free ads. So there's actually a number of books on him.
Okay, good.
One is Strange Angel, The Otherworldly Life of Rocket Scientist John Whiteside Parsons, which is a wicked lame way of saying a guy's name whose name's actually Marvel Parsons.
Marvel. With me, Marvel
I never said that, but he started going by Jack because his mom called him that because I guess his dad named him, and then when his dad got kicked out of the house, she was
like, that's a
your name's
dumb
gonna be Jack.
You're going by Jack, the most standard name I can think of.
Another is Sex and Rockets, The Occult World of Jack Parsons. That guy's way better at naming
That's
a book.
A good title. That's a solid title. That's going to sell a couple of copies.
And TV series is Strange Angel. And it's on CBS? How have we never seen that?
Wait, it's called Strange Angel?
I think so. Jack Parsons works as a janitor at a chemical factory by day, but at night he nurses a secret ambition to build rockets that will take mankind to the moon.
Interesting.
Sounds like our guy.
Yeah, sounds like him. We should look at him.
I like they call him John Whiteside Parsons. His name's Jack Parsons. Come on.
He's Jackie P, dude.
Yeah. Such a good, clean name.
Well, that's
all the time we have here.
That's a Monday morning Macabre.
I think we're about to get kicked out right now.
I think we are too.
Well, thank you, listeners, for listening to today's episode of Monday Morning Macabre on Jack Parsons, the sex rocket occultist.
It's a good Monday. Go out there and build some rockets and do some magic.
Darcy, where can where can listeners follow us?
You can find us on Instagram at Monday Morning Macabre. You can find us on Facebook at Monday Morning Macabre. Also on Twitter at MMMacabre Pod because someone else took it or it was too long. I can't remember exactly why.
If you have it out there, that's fighting words. We will come to your house and we'll find you.
We will get Scientology to sue your ass. And also check us out at mondaymorningmacabre.com, our website where we have full links and descriptions and pictures and cool website stuff.
Some
notes section, baby. Also check us out anywhere you can find podcasts, and please rate and subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, we really appreciate it, and it goes a long way for us.
Tell your friends,
and have a good Monday. Bye.
Goodbye.